Thank you, Dhruv. Yeah. So, anyone here who's here for the first time? Excuse me. Anyone? Nope. I think this isn't your first class. No. Okay. So I'm just gonna skip through the introduction because I believe everyone knows about me at this point. Stop. Okay, so makers again. I'm asking y'all. Y'all all know about the Facebook page Makers in the Oasis, and trying to build a community where all of y'all can share ideas, ask each other questions, and talk about your projects with each other. So I a lot of you have already joined it, but everyone hasn't. Like even in today's class, I've got over 30 participants, but they're only around in the 20s on the Facebook group. So I want all of you to join it because it's gonna help everyone. And you all come to know about these classes today morning through email, but I put up what's gonna happen at least. Oh, thank you, Kasina. It's 22. Okay, so but I put up the schedule for the classes at least 3 to 4 days in advance, and then I share the recordings there and all of that. So please, if you do not have a Facebook account, which I'm guessing is the case with most of you, get your parents to sign up. Okay, do that. It doesn't take time, and it helps me as well, because I get to show that I have regular attendees, and helps me get a little bit of support for my classes if you all are on the Facebook page or are engaging through such platforms. And we're gonna quickly skip through this because this is not updated. Anyways, we are going to be talking about different types of sensors. We're going to be talking about an LDR temperature sensor. Then we're going to be talking about a motion sensor, and we're going to be building online circuits for all of those. But before all of this, we're going to be talking about something called a potential divider. And that is something that is going to be rather challenging. So I want you all to I want all of you all to listen really carefully when we're talking about that. All right, Hussein, I will try and cover potential divider by 7. You can watch the recording for the rest of the class. You all know 7:30 exactly we'll have the quiz. So yeah, until then, let's learn. Now, again, this is just like a brief recap all the way from the first class. What is it that you'll see on your screen? I think all of you all know that. What is it called in the chat? Yes, and what does it stand for? Tell me the full form as well. Yes, it's LED. All of you are right. Great. The longer side is anode or cathode. See, these are basics. So your same thing applies to capacitors and all of that. So I want you all to just have a basic idea of that. Great. Yes. Man, you don't need to send the answers to me privately. It's not that others aren't answering. So just send them on the everyone thing on chat. Okay. Right. Next, what is this called? What is this? Which is also called a potentiometer, right? Potentiometer is right. It's not a stepper motor. And yeah, you're right, Shivani. It's also called a variable resistor. Exactly. Now, oh shit, where's my pen? Where was your second? 1 second. I think I dropped my writing thing. Wow, I think I'm going to be using my hand, and writing will be worse than usual. Anyways, right. So guys, the middle thing, what is that called? The middle terminal of the potentiometer. Remember, it had a special name. That's right, Viper. And I think almost everyone remembers how this works, right? The internal mechanism of this. Yeah. Okay, great. Guys, just give me 1 second. I'm going to look for my stylus because I can't write without it. And writing will be very bad. Snap. Where did it go? A second ago. This is very annoying. Nope, I can't find it. Anyways, moving on. I can't waste time looking for it. Right. So what's next? What is this called? You're right, Farhan. It does control the passing current. What is this called, guys? Yes, it's called no. It's not a stepper motor. It's a servo motor. That's right. Now, what is special about the servo motor? Is servo motor more precise, or is servo motor, or does it have more strength? Or okay, just tell me one special thing about the servo motor. It is precise, okay, but yeah, it has more force. That is what I'm looking for more. So that's more special. It is precise, but it is more special because it has more force. So it's like a pop quiz, right? Yeah. Okay. Next, I think everyone knows this. And what's this called? A buzzer. And what is this disc inside of the buzzer called? It's called a piezo. That's right. Okay, so for those of you who weren't there in the last class, I'm quickly going to talk about this for a minute because it is something interesting. And 1 second. Okay, now I'll know who's annotating, so none of you are going to be able to do that. Okay, so this is, as you'll know, a buzzer, and inside the buzzer we have something called a piezo disc. A piezo disc. So a piezo disc has two parts. One of them is a copper plate. So I have a buzzer with me here. It's similar to the one you all saw in the picture, just it's kind of thinner and little bigger. And what it has inside is something called a piezo disc. Soham joined the Facebook group. It has the recordings from all the previous classes, and I emailed them to you all after every class. So just check those two places. Yeah. Anyways, so a piezo disc which is inside all these buzzers has two basic parts. Does anyone remember what those parts are? Yes, one of them is a ceramic part. So the top part is a ceramic part, and the golden color part is, that's it. It's a copper disc. Wow, I'm happy all of you will remember that. So we have a copper disc, and we have a ceramic crystal. Okay, it's called a ceramic crystal, by the way. So the special property of the ceramic crystal is, depending on the direction in which current is flowing through it, which side you connect positive and which side you connect negative, it either contracts or it expands. And we use that contraction and expansion to produce sound, basically. It's as simple as that. Okay. And if you guys are asking, oh wow, Donald Trump wants to ask me a question, put it in the chat, Donald Trump. Anyway, so you guys have an idea of how the piezo discs work. I think most of y'all were there. So just gonna move on because I have more interesting things for today's class. And what are these called? No one is saying washing machine. Yes, it's called a capacitor, exactly. So, and what is the basic function of a capacitor? Basic function. To store electricity, yes. So it is basically, it does not store water, Kashina, thank you. Yeah, it's like a temporary battery. So for those who weren't there in the last class, if I'm tell you very briefly what a capacitor does, and I did not leave any slides. Okay. As basically, if this is your first tank, which through which water, the in and out of the water flowing in and out is irregular, we add another tank in the middle which has a temporary storage of water which serves as the capacitor, that makes sure that even when the source is fluctuating, the water coming out is regular. Simply it is like that. It's a temporary way for you to, temporary method of you storing charge. Kashinath's in a European city. Oh, sorry, I need to not talk about random things. Right, and like I told you last time, there are two types of capacitors. There's an electrolytic capacitor and a ceramic capacitor. So a ceramic capacitor has no polarity, that is you can connect it anyway in a circuit, whereas an electrolytic capacitor has a positive and a negative. So you connect the longer side, yes, it is polarized, so you connect the positive side to the positive of the battery, and you connect the shorter side to the negative of the battery. And once it's connected in that circuit, it temporarily stores charge until you take that charge, until the source utilizes it. Okay. And what is this called, guys? Let's see how many of you all remember. Yes, this is called a diode. See, all of this is recap. So in case you'll do not understand something, then you'll have to go and watch the recordings. Okay, I'm going very fast through all of this. I've explained everything in detail last time. Exactly. So this is called a diode. And what does the diode do? Yes, Dhruv, once was enough. What does the diode do? That's right, Jatin. So it allows current to only flow in one direction. Stephen, it's on the Facebook page. I will talk about it again towards the end of the class. It's a one-way road for electricity. Exactly, Kashina. So all of you have got a homework with a diode in the circuit, and I think almost all of you all sent. Okay, not all of you. Very few of you all sent the homework to me. The rest of you all, I will do it right now in the class for you all to see what you all were supposed to do and didn't do, or you all did and didn't send it. Either ways, it's the same. I don't know if you all did it if you didn't send it. So send it. It's okay. 1 second, let me open the circuit again. And we're going to do the homework quickly. The website seems to be having problems. Okay, Razak. But send it, guys. See, I don't know if you all did it or if you all have understood something. I want to know something if you all don't send it to me, right? No, I don't want to open a new circuit. And Dhruv, can you stop scribbling, please? Thank you, Dhruv. 1 second, we're going to wait for these two. Not Dhruv, Dhruv. Apparently, they're two different people. Okay, so this is a diode circuit. We're going to edit it. And I asked you all to use the breadboard for this. So some of you all did do it with the breadboard, some of you all did it without the breadboard. So I'm quickly going to show you all how to do it with the breadboard. So we're going to get the breadboard in, take out the diode. We connect our again, excuse me. We're going to connect our this to the power lines. If you guys are saying something, I can't see it right now. Give me a second. Tinkercad is weird. That is why. That's the only explanation I have for that. Right. So again, we all know current flows from positive to negative, and the diode is represented as an arrow basically. So the side which has the white stripe is the head of the arrow. All of you all remember that, right? So the arrow is basically like this. So I'm going to plug it in here. I'm going to rotate this and put it into the, wow. I'm going to connect this here across the breadboard, plug in the resistor there, delete this wire because it's unnecessary, and I'm going to connect negative to this line and positive to this line. And will this turn on? Yes or no? Oh, right. Okay, so there's a fake Dhruv Suresh. Okay, so don't do that to each other, guys. Right, so will this turn on, guys? Yes or no? What do you all think? So the current is flowing from positive to negative, and the head of this, okay, is, okay, guys, tell me fast, yes or no? Okay, why not? Why not? There are many reasons why this won't turn on. So let's just, yeah, the terminals are not proper, and there are a lot of other issues with the circuit that I did not pay attention to myself. I'm going to color code the wires a little bit. And no, the diode is not opposite. I've connected that the right way. But yeah, the breadboard connections were pretty bad. Okay, now do you all think this will turn on? Like I told you, the white line represents the head of the arrow. So the diode is going to allow current in this direction. So from the positive, it's flowing like that, it's coming like this, and it is going to go in the right way, right? So will this turn on? We turn it on and we see it turns on, right? And if we flip the diode around, you can see it does not turn on, because now the arrow is in that direction, and but the current is flowing in this direction, or the current is flowing in this direction. So they basically cannot, amazing arrows. Basically, the current won't flow, so the LED won't turn on. Simple as that. We all know what diodes are now. And we're just going to move on. How does a diode do this? We're not going to talk about, because it is a rather complicated topic, and we have to talk about, semiconductors and all that. So I'm not going to get into that. But just get the idea that that's how it works. No, you can put it in any configuration as long as it's somewhere in the circuit in the same direction. Jatin, I'm only going to talk about the Arduino after we've covered all the basics, because yeah, we're not going to jump into the deep end without knowing how to kick our legs, right? So, amazing analogy. Okay, so now guys, coming to my main topic for today, what I really hope a lot of you, at least most of you all can understand. It is something that's rather complicated, and to explain this simply, if I was allowed to use like grade 10 and 12 physics, then I could explain this in like 5 minutes. But I don't think anyone here is from grade 10 or 12. So I have to somehow simplify this into a version that all of you all can understand. And that is why it's going to take rather long, and I want all of you all to listen carefully, okay? So just focus and do not think about what others are saying at this point, because this is, just focus on this concept, because I want you all to understand this properly. So this is something called a voltage divider. All right, I'm clearing all drawings. Oh, okay, right. Sufyan, you can use Ohm's law to explain the same thing, but for everyone, I'm not going to talk about this. But this is something called a voltage divider. All right. Now, given the name, what do you all think it does? Guys, I found my stylus. It's as simple as that. Yes, Farhan. It divides the voltage. It's literally in the name. No. Voltage divider, it divides the voltage. All right. It's as simple as that. It's fine. Now, how does it do that, and what does it do exactly? I'm going to make simplify it as much as we can, as much as I can, and we're going to talk about it. Now, anyone here who does not know what fractions are? I hope not, because it's supposed to be for grade 6 and above. So at least everyone here knows what are fractions? No, ignore the grade thing as long as you know what are fractions. That's okay. But if you know what are fractions, okay, I think almost all of you all do. And everyone knows how to multiply and divide numbers. Yeah, multiplication and division. Yes, okay. I'm just making sure. Right, because we are going to be doing some sort of math calculations that involves multiplication and division for us to understand this. Okay, so now I'm going to be using something. I'm going to be using a pizza analogy here. Okay, so now, for example, our circuit obviously needs power. All right, and like humans, yes, pizza. You heard that right. Now, like humans, we humans get power from food, right? We eat food, and everyone's favorite food is pizza. So we're going to talk about how pizza is a source of energy for all of us. Similarly, a battery is a source of energy for the circuit. Now, our input voltage is our pizza here. Okay, and it is a rather big pizza that can feed a few people. Okay, now in our circuit, okay guys, stop scribbling. Whoever this is, clear it. Rahul, clear your scribbling drawings. Even Ishan. Now we're going to call this circuit, this voltage dividing circuit, a small household. Think of this as a small house where there are two people living. that are resistor 1 and resistor 2. Okay, and these two resistors, because they want to live, Rahul, you don't need to do that, thank you. And because they need to live, they need to eat, so they need a power source, and as their power source they're using a pizza. Okay, I'm trying to make this into a story, so try and understand this. Okay, so now now again, there's a household, there are two people and they need a power source, which is going to be the pizza. So now in a circuit, Ishan, you don't need to divide my pizza into slices, thank you. Even you, Dave. So now our input voltage in our circuit, which is giving power to the resistors, is our pizza. All right, now these two people that are there, they, let's assume for once, okay, for us to start with, that they both weigh the same. So both of them weigh 1 k. Okay, I'll talk about what k is a little bit later. Okay, so let's just say that both of them weigh 1 k. All right, so now if they weigh the same, you can roughly say they will need the same. Who said I'm like, just, it's literally a story so far. Okay, I'm just telling you, think of this as Rahul, I'm actually going to remove you from the class if you do not stop scribbling. Okay, repeating this again, once again, slowly. So think of the voltage dividing circuit as a household. Like a circuit, the household needs a source of power, and that is food, that is going to be our pizza. And in this circuit, like the household, the power source is a battery. Okay, do you get that? Like what I'm trying to do here, basically do you all get the analogy I'm trying to compare? Like, yeah, so like in a household, or like this house, there are two people living. Okay, that, like a circuit, are two resistors. Okay, yes, house is equal to circuit, very simple. Okay, and battery is equal to pizza, simple. Yes, they're two brothers living, they're both resistors and they weigh the same. Yeah, this is a very complicated explanation. I'm telling you, most people won't even. Anyways, just try and understand this. So both of them weigh the same. Both of their weight is 1k. Okay. So now if both of their weight is the same, you can say they roughly need the same amount of food. Yeah. So now if they both need the same amount of food, when one pizza comes in, they're both going to divide it equally. Yes or no? Yes. So if both of them weigh the same, then when the same pizza comes in, they're going to divide it equally. So if they're dividing it equally, means they're going to divide it in half. Yes, exactly what I'm coming to, Sofyan. If both the resistors, okay, wait, but let's not jump. Let's not jump the gun. You come there slowly. Exactly. Yeah, they're going to divide the pizza in half. Okay, so in our case, in our analogy, the input voltage is basically this pizza. Ali, even you need to stop scribbling. So in our case, our input voltage is our pizza, and our two people in the household are these two resistors, resistor 1 and resistor 2. And what I told you was their weight, that was 1k whatever, is actually 1k ohms. Like, remember how I told you the resistance, how much does it resist, is called the resistance, is the unit of resistance, right? So how much does it resist power is resistance, right? And if they both are 1k, that is their weight, like compared to the analogy, means they both have the same resistance. So if they both have the same resistance, means they're going to divide the power equally. Does that make somewhat sense? Yeah, does that make sense? So basically the ratio or the paths in which, okay, Mariam, now you need to stop scribbling. Like guys, whoever is scribbling, I will directly throw you all out now. No more warnings. Okay? Because again, this is something that's hard. Okay? Right. So now basically the number of pieces and who gets how many pieces of the pizza, it is divided like in the household in terms of weight. In the circuit, it is determined in terms of the resistance of each resistor. Does that make sense? So what you're going to do is, for example, one is 1k ohms and the other one is, for example, I'm going to clear all of this. One is 1k ohm and the other one is 3k ohm. Okay. So now what is the sum? What is 1k plus 3k? 4k, right? Very simple, 4k. And what is one and what part? So now our whole pizza has to be divided amongst 4Ks. For example, let's just say 4Ks. Yeah, that's right, Priya. But I'll come to that. So now our whole thing, our whole pizza has to be divided, for example, to 4 parts. Has to be, first will be cut into 4 parts. Okay. And as per weight, as per the resistance, okay, R1, because it is 3K, how many parts is that going to take? Tell me. So now I've divided, because the sum is 4 parts, means for calculation, I'm going to divide the pizza into 4 pieces. Okay. And because R1 is 3K, how many pieces is R1 going to take out of the 4? Guys, don't tell me percentage. Tell me a number. And Shahana, are you going to clear that? You all want to be called out for scribbling? I think that's what you all are trying to do. So that's going to take, so very simply, R1 is going to take 3 and R2 is going to take 1. Yeah, as simple as that. Okay. So now if our input voltage was, for example, 4 volts. So how many volts? Okay, guys, don't spam. Be courteous, don't spam. Ishan, don't spam. Right. So now, okay, guys, our input voltage or our input pizza, for example, is 4 volts. Okay. How do you think it will be split? Guys, tell me. So R2 is going to get 1 volt and R2 is going to get 1 volt and R1 is going to get 3 volts. Right? So basically we are dividing the voltage according to the two resistances, right? It's as simple as that. This is basically what a voltage dividing circuit does. Okay. But now you all will probably ask, what do you mean that one gets 1 volt and the other one gets 2 volts, right? I'm sure all of you are wondering, right? Because I was too when I was trying to understand this, right? Okay. So I'm going to explain this on the next slide, which is blank. Lovely. Right. So remember how we spoke about how a battery is basically 2 tanks with different concentration of power carriers. So one's going to be full and the other one is going to be empty. 1 second. Let me draw this, guys, then I'll explain it. Okay. Give me a second. My amazing drawings are back. Okay. And I need another color to explain. No washing machine here. Hari Mirch, very nice. Don't even feel like calling you out in this case. Right. So we have our battery here. This is going to be our battery. Okay. This is a resistor. And the rest of it is a wire. Okay. Guys, no jokes now. Let me explain this. Once you all understand this, then you all can sit and joke about it. Okay. So now we are having, okay, Kashinath, it is the mother who divides the pizza, but it is not at the same time. So now listen to what I'm trying to explain. Now, so there's going to be current that will flow because one side has more power carriers than the other side, right? Yeah. So, and what does a resistor do? A resistor is going to slow down the power carriers flowing through it. Yes or no? Okay. So now from here, I have power carriers flowing in the circuit. Okay. It's coming to the resistor and the resistor is restricting their movement. Okay. And you see, ahead, like over here, there were like okay, guys, these are just assumptions so you understand the concept, okay? Like in the wire itself, obviously this isn't the exact mechanism. Look, whoever is scribbling, I'm removing you from the class. You won't be able to rejoin. Yeah, R is the resistor here. So you can see on one side, there are like two power carriers coming in simultaneously, and after the resistor, there's only one going, right? So technically, you can say that there is a difference in the concentration of the power carriers on one side of the resistor and the other side of the resistor. You do not understand, Dave? Okay. Dave, you know how a resistor works, right? Dave, you know how a resistor works? It's basically, okay, he's getting removed from the class. Give me a second. See guys, once I remove you, you cannot rejoin, okay? So I'm actually removed him now. So you're not going to be able to rejoin this session. Anyways, so you'll have on one side of the resistor, well, as the current is flowing, you have more power carriers coming in, and after the resistor, you have lesser power carriers. Do you all see that? I've shown that in my amazing drawing. You'll see there are like two power carriers coming in simultaneously on one side, and on the other side there's only one. So you can say there is a difference in concentration on the power carriers of one side of the resistor compared to the other side, right? See, they're more on this side than they're on this side of the resistor. Isn't this the same thing that is happening in the battery? Right? That's basically the same thing, right? The missing carriers, they just do not see guys, this is just an analogy. Do not ask me to get into details because it is actually slowing down the whole circuit itself. This isn't exactly how it's working. Hi Kevin, I'm just trying to explain the concept to you. Okay, so in essence, you can say technically, if I were to use a voltmeter, you'll know what's a voltmeter. I'm sure I've talked about it. I used one in the last class for you all. If I were to use, yeah, it measures voltage. So if I were to use a voltmeter across the resistor, I will actually get a reading of some volts because there is a difference in the number of power carriers. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? Everyone. I went a little fast through this, so if you do not understand, tell me. Farhan, you didn't understand? Okay, I'll tell you once rather quickly, but try and follow through. So, there are power carriers flowing from the positive side to the negative side. It's okay, Hussein, just listen. Everyone listen, whoever is not understood yet. So, you all have understood so far that power carriers are more on one side of the battery and less on the other side. That's why power carriers, when you connect a wire, flows from the positive to the negative. Yes? Yes or no, guys? Yeah? Okay. So now, if I add a resistor in the circuit, now think of this as, okay, I'm going to compare this to a road. So there's a thick road and then there's a thin road. Okay. And there are a lot of cars coming in here and only one car can go in at a time. So it's going to lead to a sort of traffic jam on this side. Bye, Stephen. It's going to lead to a sort of traffic jam on one side of the resistor. You can say that. Yeah. So there'll be more concentration on one side than on the other side. Yes. Guys, everyone understood this? So you'll understand why one side of the resistor will have more concentration of power carriers than the other side. So that is the same thing that is happening in a battery. One side has more power carriers than the other side. Yeah, don't call me sir. I don't like it. One side has more power carriers than the other side. Oh, you guys want me to explain this again? Okay. What part of it did you all not understand? Like the whole thing? Or did you not understand the resistors bit? Okay, Razak, I will. They're like, you can watch the recording, but I'm not explaining the whole thing again. So I'll explain the resistors bit again. Okay, I understand your questions. Okay, so I'm gonna compare the resistor again to a road. Okay, let's just think of this, the resistance region, as a road. Okay, so you'll have a lot of cars here coming in on one side. The cars are our power carriers. Okay, cars are power carriers, right? So now this becomes a narrower road, which is the resistance in the circuit, which slows down the traffic as only one can flow through at a time, right? So even after the resistor, only one is going to be able to flow through because they're only coming in at that speed. Yeah. So you can see, compared to this side, compared to side one, side two has lesser power carriers stuck. Yes? Agreed, all of y'all? Okay. So now, what does a voltmeter do? Now, if this was a battery, I'm going to clear this and I don't want to make a clutter again. No one understands. Now, if this was my battery, with all of my power carriers on one side and less on the other side. If I were to connect a voltmeter to it, this is my voltmeter. The voltmeter, listen, Hussein, this is just me giving an example. In the actual wire, there are like millions and like billions of electrons, so it's very different. But just get an idea here of the concept of what's going on. So if I were to connect a voltmeter to a battery, it would tell me how much difference of power carriers is there basically. That's what a voltmeter does, right? It tells you what is the difference in the power carriers, concentration of power carriers. So similarly, if I were to connect a better looking voltmeter on this side, again, it's going to give me a reading. It's going to give me a reading, right? Because there is a difference in the power carriers on both sides. It's as simple as that. Everyone understood this? This is basically how you get a voltage across the resistor. That is why, this is basically why in the previous case you were getting a difference in voltage across the resistors. Everyone understood? Okay, so now I'm going to move on because let's actually go ahead and try this. Okay, and how much voltage is measured at each end is dependent on the ratio between the total resistance of each resistor. So how much is the value of each resistor compared to the total resistance determines how much voltage is found across that resistor. Now I'm talking about, let me actually go and make this circuit. Oh, I've made the circuit. Let me just show it to you also, then it'll make more sense. Man, this is stressful. Anyways, as long as you'll understand this. Where is this? Where is this? Yeah. Okay, so isn't this okay? Can you all see, this is literally the circuit that we had on the previous screen? What is in front of you is basically a voltage dividing circuit. You have a power source, it is connected to two resistors, and it is connected. It is literally the exact same circuit. Okay, but I made it with components. And this over here is a voltmeter. I didn't know the program had that last time. Oh, I'm not sure if you attended that session. Priya, I had a session only for breadboards for like half an hour, 45 minutes. I was talking only about breadboards. Even if you see the recording from last class, oh, you still have doubts with breadboards? Guys, what's the recording? I've literally explained that like very well. I'm pretty sure everyone understood that. Okay. So I will tell you all which class it was in towards the end. Just remind me. Okay. So now guys, this is my 9-volt battery. If I connect my, forget the resistors. If I connect my voltmeter directly to my 9-volt batteries, oh wait, how many volts is it going to show? Tell me. Everyone agrees with the 9 volts, right? And it shows 9 volts, doesn't it? Now, coming back to my voltage dividing circuit. I've got, this is my household, the pizzas come, the 9-volt pizza. And I have got 2 resistors here. And I'm going to make them equal resistances. 1 volt, 1 k ohm, and other ones also. Look, you'll see value of resistance, it's here. 1 k ohm, and even this one is 1 k ohm. You'll see that they are equal resistances, means a household has 2 brothers, both the brothers have equal weight. Everyone has seen it. Seen this, yeah? Now, what I do is I connect the 9 volts across these two, like in the voltage dividing circuit, and I'm going to connect the voltmeter. 1 second, I'm going to move this one here. I'm going to connect it across one of the resistors. Okay. So, remember, as per our calculations, because they are equal, if our pizza was of green looks so bad, better color. So, if our input pizza was of 9 volts and both the resistances are equal, means it's going to be divided into how many pieces, guys? Yes, values according to the color. That's right, Dave. Tell me, guys. It is going to be, yeah, and each should get, it's going to get divided in half. So our input pizza, which is 9 volts, is going to get divided in half. Makes sense? And half of 9 volts is 4.5 volts. Exactly. So if I turn on this, everyone says that this will show 3.4, 4.5 volts. And look, it does. You'll see that? Everyone sees that. Right. So now I'm going to give you all one more example of this, and then we're actually going to use it to show how, where do we use a potential divide. Because potential dividing circuits are used almost everywhere in almost every device. They're just so important. Right. So to explain, give you one more example. Now, our input pizza is again of 9 volts, but one of our resistances or one of them's weight is 1 k ohms, and the other one is of 2 k ohms. So what is this sum again? What's 1 plus 2? 3k. 3k, right? And so one of the resistors will get how many volts will, and our input pizzas of 9 volts. So, and we're dividing it into 3 pieces. So one of the resistors will get how many pieces? Mikhail hasn't said anything for a while. Is he still here? One of them will get 2 pieces and the other one will get 1 piece. Does that make sense, everyone? Because see, it's getting divided into 3 pieces. One of them is 2k, other one is 3k. One is 2k ohms, another one's weight is 1k. Right? So one of them gets one of the pieces and the other one gets 2 of the pieces. Understand that? So now if I'm measuring it across the 1k ohm one, how many volts should the voltmeter say or show? How many volts will the voltmeter show? Okay, all of you are saying 6. Any other answer? Ayman says 3 and rest of you all say 6. How many of you all say 3 and how many of you all say 6? I'm measuring the 1k ohm one. So 1k ohm, okay, let me again come back to the analogy. 1 k ohm weighs lesser. He's thinner. 2 k ohm is fatter. 1 k ohm needs less food. Means he needs less pizza. 2 k ohm needs more pizza. Means he needs 2 pieces because he's heavy. So 1 k ohm will get 1 slice, but 2 k ohm will get 2 slices. Kashinath, once is enough, okay? So if we have our input pizza, which is 9 volts, which we're dividing into 3 pieces, the lighter weighing resistor or like lesser resistance, which is only 1 k ohm, will get 1 piece, which is 3 volts. And the other one, which is more resistance, will get the bigger piece, that is 2 pieces, which will be equal to 6 volts. Everyone understands that? And I'm measuring voltage across the first resistor. Shivani, I think that was in your case, but I will repeat it quickly for you. So we have a lighter brother and we have the heavier brother. Lighter brother is lesser resistance, so it needs lesser food, means it will get lesser voltage. It will get 1 slice. Heavier resistor will needs more food, so it needs more pieces, means it will get 2 slices of pizza, means it will get more voltage. It's very simple, guys. So now we have resistors. Eraser. We have resistor A and resistor B. Okay. Resistor A is 1 k ohm. Resistor B is 2 k ohm. Okay. And our input voltage is 9 volts. Input pizza is 9 volts. So how many volts will be across the 1 k ohm one and how many volts will be across the 2 k ohm? Tell me. Resistor A will get how many volts? Resistor A will get how many volts? That's right, Razak. Why Fanan? Why will it get 6? Resistor A. No, B. A. Okay. And 2K will get 6. Exactly. So now I'm going to run this and let's see if our answer is right. Look at that. See? You get that? You'll see it actually showed 3 volts. And if I were to disconnect this and I were to move the connection, man, okay, wait, I don't want to show you the negative sign. So now if I were to move the connection, how many volts will it show? Yes, it is directly proportional to resistance. How many volts will this one show? The rest of it. Look at that. See? Isn't that kind of cool? I mean, I find it pretty amazing how that works. And even if you are going to make the same circuit on a breadboard and try it, you'll get the same results. So this is pretty cool, right? Now, where would I use this? For example, my input circuit is let me clear on my drawings. Input source. Which red connection? Oh, this red wire. Oh, Priya, the red wire is basically to connect this line to that line. So the positive of the battery can get connected to the one end of the resistor, like it was in the circuit diagram. Okay. Now, now I want exactly 3 volts, but my source is of 9 volts because look, my LED can only run on 3 volts. You all know what happens when I connect it directly here? It explodes. Remember that? I've shown it to you all in like real life as well. Yeah. But now I need exactly 3 volts. One way is to experiment and use different resistor. No, I only have 9 volt batteries at home, Kashinath. Okay? We cannot use coin batteries. Get it? It's an example, man. Come on. So, we have one end of the, basically, we could keep using resistors to see what value works, but this is really sensitive equipment that needs exactly 3 volts. The LED is just an example. So what I do is I connect I use this circuit. Remember how there was 3 volts across this resistor? I think of the resistor as a power source and I connect the LED across it. That runs on 3 volts. And I turn it on. And you see the LED lights up without burning. Did everyone understand why we're using a voltage dividing circuit? That took almost half an hour to explain, but I'm not done yet. Sumit, what part do you ask me? Be a little more specific because I can't explain the whole thing again. It'll take time. Okay, I'll explain this example again. So we all understood how, because of the ratio of the resistors, there will be. Can it divide? I didn't get you, Razak. What do you mean? Can it divide more than 2? Yeah, it's the same thing. Just instead of the voltmeter, I'm using an LED here. See, basically what I was using the voltmeter to read 3 volts, right? When I shouldn't have taken out the voltmeter. Why? What wasn't even bothering me? Okay. Wow. Now I'm disconnected from Tinkercad servers. Yeah. See, I'm connecting my voltmeter there. Look, basically I only need, it's really simple. It's like very logical. Okay. So now I need 3 volts and I connected C. Oh, ignore the, man, I shouldn't have connected the voltmeter. That's because the LED is using up some of the voltage and the value is different. But if I were to disconnect the LED, you'll see that it shows 3 volts. Okay. Now ignore the 1.85. It's because the LED is using some of the charge. It reduces, the reading reduces. Okay. That's why I shouldn't have. Okay. Now see, another place, before we get into sensors, this is very important. Almost every sensor uses a voltage divider. How and why I will explain. It's called a multimeter because it can detect current, it can detect voltage, it can detect resistance, it can detect all of that, but we are only using the voltmeter function. Okay. Now, so guys, now we've all understood how, depending on the ratio, the value of voltage across a resistor changes. That's ammeter, voltmeter, resistance. Oh, okay. That's nice. Dhruv, I'm happy you have it. Now guys, what can I do to change the value of resistance in a circuit? What will I use? A potentiometer, that's right. Okay, I think half of you all have died, or the chat is lagging, or you all haven't understood anything and so aren't responding anymore. Oh, Mikhail is back. Finally. Yeah, the chat's lagging. Okay. So now I'm going to remove one of the resistors and I'm going to replace it with a potentiometer. So I'm going to very simply connect one end of it here and I'm going to connect the wiper to the other side. Okay, Dave. And I'm going to make this other end turquoise. Yes, because why not? Okay. So now we've got a potential, a variable resistor connected to the fixed resistance on one side. Yes or no? So shouldn't the voltage across this variable resistor change as I change the value of resistance? So now we have, again, coming back to the home analogy. One of them is a normal person who has a fixed weight. The other person has some health issue and his weight keeps changing as we turn him around. Amazing. So the amount of food he needs also keeps changing. So the way in which we divide our input pizza will also keep changing. So our voltage across, or the voltage will also keep changing. Basically, you'll understand that, right? So now when I start this, you can see as I change the value of the potentiometer. One second, I need to make this a little. One second. That's because it's too much. Yeah, you can see now as I am going to change. That's nice. I'm happy, Samit. Just try and understand as much as you can. I will, as we're going to do more circuits in the coming classes, and you'll understand this better. And I'll keep talking about the circuit because it's just so important. And now see, as I am changing, MV is millivolts. I knew all of you would ask that. Volt. So you all know how a millimeter, right? So millivolt. Yeah, exactly. Only 30 minutes and I haven't started talking about sensors. So how there is volts, smaller unit of volts is millivolts. Now, what I've got here is basically a variable resistor, and see, as I'm changing the value of resistance, the value of voltage is changing as well. Okay, so what? Yeah, you'll see that. Now, what if, okay, now what if I were to use the potentiometer as a sensor? Okay, so I put the potentiometer on my door. Okay, guys, imagine I put the potentiometer on my door and I am reading the voltage readings in another room. If someone comes in and they turn the door, the potentiometer will turn with it. So now if the potentiometer is turning, the voltage value will change and I can see the voltage in another room. So in another room, I come to know that someone has opened the door. I'm not lagging, the chat is lagging. And the internet connection is lagging. All of that is lagging. I'm very active. So you'll get the idea of how this works, right? Basically, guys, I'm on 4 hours of sleep. So this is the most best I can explain this word. And I don't think anyone here hasn't understood. It's not. Yeah, Farhad, exactly. Right. So now we're going to talk about sensors, and I am going to come back to this circuit right after some time. I knew he would say that. No, it's because I've been talking continuously for the past hour. Okay. So what is a sensor? Why? Guys, anyone getting bored except Fahad who's feeling sleepy? Nope, I hope not. Okay. A sensor is basically an electronic device that can record, indicate, measure, detect, or respond to a change in a sort of stimulus. So like last time I asked you all, how many sense organs does the human body have? Yeah, and you all told me 5. So that's eyes to see, ears to hear, tongue to taste, skin to feel, touch, and what was it? Nose to smell, right? So our human body, in essence, has like 5 senses, 5 important senses. What do these sensors do? They can, in our case, they can indicate, like, okay, let's take the example of my finger and the skin on my finger. Now, if there is a change in temperature, it can indicate how much, like that there is a change. It can tell me that you've touched something hot. It can, okay, it can't exactly tell me a measure. Yeah, we will learn how 3 different, okay, now 3 is not going to happen. We learn how 1 different type of sensor works. So we now basically, it cannot measure, but it can give me an idea how much it has become hotter. So you can say it roughly measures, like I can, you can touch something and say it has become hot enough. Yeah, this is very hot, this is less hot. So you can say your skin measures. Your skin can detect a change in like the temperature or something. Your ears can detect a change in sound, and then it can tell your body to respond to that change or ask your brain to record that change, right? So like how our body has 5 sense organs, similarly circuits have sensors. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, that is basically what sensors do. And like our skin, how we can see different types of things. Oops, let's not jump the gun. Sensors can detect changes in light, changes in heat, changes in motion. Why, Dhruv? Changes in pressure or changes in moisture. Right? Now we're going to talk about the first kind of sensor, which is a light sensor. See, it's the very first one, light. And we're going to be talking about exactly how does a light sensor work. Now, a light sensor is something called an LDR. Okay, an LDR is a type of light sensor. LDR stands for light dependent resistor. Yeah, it's also called a photoresistor. You're right, Ishan. So it's called a photoresistor or a light dependent resistor because, like a potentiometer, its value of resistance, that's nice to say, its value of resistance changes with the amount of light falling on it. It's as simple as that. So the amount of light falling on the LDR will change the value of its resistance. And you remember with what kind of a circuit can detect a change in resistance? Guys, tell me, what kind of a circuit can detect a change in resistance? I think the chat is lagging, or none of y'all know. We did this just now, literally. What kind of a circuit did we do? One second, I'll explain. I'll come to that. First, let's understand what it does. Then I'll talk about its how it works internally. Guys, tell me, what kind of a circuit can detect the change in resistance? You're right, Parvati. It's a voltage divider. Why didn't anyone else answer? We literally just did it. Yeah, Alden, voltage divider. Remember how, as we were changing the value of the variable resistor, we were coming to know. So in a way, we were detecting change in resistance. Yes or no? Oh, all right. You're waiting for Parvati to answer. Very nice, guys. Just so never mind. Great. So now we are going to use a LDR in a voltage dividing circuit, and as the light changes, the value of resistance is going to change, and we are going to come to know. So as the amount of light is changing, we are going to come to know electronically, right? You all clearly don't find this as exciting as I do, because I don't know. I'm kidding. Anyway, so I'm going to replace one of the resistors that we have here with a light dependent resistor. Okay. I'm going to get a light dependent resistor. Now, a light dependent resistor, have you all understood how it is a variable resistor? You come to know, Farhan. Yes. And the voltage dividing circuit can come to know when there is a change in, ask me in the chat. Good call. If you have a question, just ask me in the chat. Yeah, okay, then ask me. And if you're serious, then why is your name President of the United States? Ask me first. Anyways, in the meanwhile, no, only after 20 minutes. Anyways, so we are going to connect the photoresistor in place of one of our resistors, or the potentiometer. Okay, and we are going to start simulation. Now see, as I change the amount of light falling on it, this is basically a light that tells us how much light is falling on it. You can see the value of voltage across it is changing. Look, firstly, this is one second. Never mind. Okay, so do you all see that? As the amount of light falling on the photoresistor is changing in the voltage dividing circuit, the voltage across the photoresistor is also changing. Guys, the chat is distracting me, so don't talk about irrelevant things, please. Okay, and a basic rule for all photoresistors, and I'll talk about its mechanism so you all will understand better. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the mechanism in this class because it's going to take me at least 30 minutes to give you all a background of atoms and electrons and how current flows in a circuit, because only then we can start talking about the internal mechanism of an LDR. So like right now, I just want you all to understand what it does. Yeah, it's not enough time. I'm going to talk about the these now circuits right now, three sensors now. So you understand basically how this LDR is working. As you're changing the value of light, the value of resistance is changing, and that is changing the voltage value. No, we're learning different kinds of sensors. We're learning three kinds of sensors today. So everyone understands how the photoresistor works. I'm moving on to the next sensor then. Okay, so how does the value of resistance change? I will explain it in next class because that's going to take at least 30 minutes to explain. Okay, and thermocouple also I will do in the next class because once I explain photoresistor, this will be very simple. Oh, you want right. Okay, next we are going to be using now this is something that is used to detect a change in temperature. So you can call it a temperature sensor basically. We're going to do the quiz after 20 minutes. I'm minimizing the chat. So if you all have any doubts, raise your hand and I'll open the chat because this is kind of distracting me now. Now our second type of sensor is something called a resistance temperature detector or an RTD. Now, as the name suggests, the value of its resistance changes with change in temperature. Okay, so like how in the first case, the value of guys, 1 second. How in the first case, the value of resistance was changing with the amount of light falling on the sensor. In this case, the value of resistance changes with the amount of heat that is on the resistor. It's as simple as that. So we're going to be using the same circuit as last time. Okay. We're going to be replacing this with a temperature sensor. They have a very different kind of temperature sensor. Okay, we can probably still use this, but like I will have to see how do I use it. Let's see if this will work actually. Okay, I don't know if this will work to be honest. Guys, 1 second. Sorry, the thing is slightly different. I expected a different kind of temperature sensor. So I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to work. Or if it is going to work like this. Alright, so I bought the temperature sensor. Oh, nice. Never mind. I'm going to use a different circuit for this. Okay, so now generally the kind of and let me clear all the background stuff. Okay. Wow, I've totally lost focus. Right. So now, guys, basically, you remember how I show how we had the voltage dividing circuit here earlier, right? We had a resistor on one side, and the other side was an LDR, and the value of its resistance changed as and the value of its resistance changed as value of its resistance changed as the amount of light falling on it changed. Now, in this case, the same resistor that we had earlier, this is a circuit. This is our LDR from this is the previous example right now. Okay. This is the light sensor still. So in the previous case, as the amount of light falling on this was changing, the value of resistance was changing. And so the reading on the voltmeter kept changing, right? Yeah, I know he cannot join now. I told him to stop. And I warned you all, you cannot join once I remove you all, right? He can watch the recording now. It's unfortunate, but you're not supposed to scribble. Okay. So this was a previous example which everyone understood. Now in this TMP thing, that this TMP36 temperature sensor, this voltage dividing circuit is built in. Simply put, it's built in. Okay. So inside it, if I would, obviously we won't see inside of it, but I can draw and explain it. It's the same mechanism, but here we have a special material which will change its resistance with temperature, and we have a normal resistor, and this is like a special material here. So all of this is already inside this. No, he can join the other meetings, just this one he cannot. Okay, so basically it's the same thing as the previous circuit, but this value of the voltage is going to change here according to the temperature. And you can see that when I connect this to power, after I clear my drawings, actually this is pretty simple, and I change the value of the temperature, the value of voltage changes. It's as simple as this. I'm not going to go into more details because there's nothing here that needs more details. Guys, have you all understood this? Has everyone understood a voltage dividing circuit? Yes or no? Yeah. What was that? Uh, Guys, 1 second. It started lagging for me. I can't see if. No. Oh. Okay, guys. I think a lot of you all have to go for prayers. I'll try to keep this class in the morning next week. I know you all have prayers like on Saturdays at this time. I think every day at this time. So I'll try that. But see, lots of topics that I wanted to cover. So you all can't do the whole quiz unless I cover everything. I'll try and have it at that time. It's just that I'm a little bit busy at this time. Ah, great. Okay, guys, I'm coming to the quiz. Wait. There were more things I wanted to talk about, but I think we've covered a lot in today's class. Yeah. Priya, I'm not sure. I've actually already spent 30 minutes on the breadboard, so I'll suggest you watch the recording. It'll get boring for the others. Most of you here know how to use the breadboard, right? Except for those who missed the class. Yeah, high temperature means high voltage. Though it depends on the internal mechanism, and when we talk about the internal mechanism of an LDR and the internal mechanism of a of a temperature sensor in the next class, then you will understand better. Yeah, and I'm putting the link. Wait, let me start the game. See, guys, you won't be able to answer at least 4 questions because they're about things we didn't talk about in today's class. That's your quiz. All of you will do the quiz. Join the quiz, all of you all. If it's not working, go to the website and use this code. Guys, all of you will join. My internet connection is pretty bad today. Okay, so 22 of y'all are here and the 32 in the class. I'll give everyone else like 2 minutes to join. Guys, I'll start the quiz. Is there anyone who hasn't joined yet? Let me know. I'll wait. No, Sophia, I'm not. I like the robots, but that's it. Why can't you join the roof? Uh, Long story, Sophia. Okay, I'm starting it. And I'm shutting the music because it's annoying. Okay, guys, you got Jatin in the lead, and then there is Vansh, Razak, Mandalorian, Sofyan. Very nice. This is. Yeah, I've started the quiz, Sophia. In the meanwhile, I'm gonna get my survey link. Okay, what does it look like now? Razak is in the lead. See, because he was asking questions and he was listening. So, see, obviously he's gonna get more points than others. Then, who all? Okay, Alden's coming up. See, he was engaging as well. And who else? Farhan's there. There's Jatin. Vansh is second right now. I think Vansh has always been at the top. The quizzes. Then we have Alden in third place, Farhan in fourth, Jatin in fifth. Oh, Jatin jumped up. Right. So I think Razak was in the first place, and everyone else has got at least one question wrong. Okay, guys. Okay. Oh wow, Alden overtook Razak. Seems like it. Why not, Fahad? Did you try going to the website? Okay, so we had Ishan. Okay, Ayman took the first place now. So I think Ayman and Ishan got 10 questions correct straight. Farhan had like a 7-question lead. Razak also got all 10 questions correct, but I think it was a time thing due to which they were more ahead. I can't be sure. Okay, Sofian, I honestly haven't watched any of the Star Wars movies. That's why I cannot tell you yet. No, none of you are leaving until you do the survey. Guys, please do the survey, right? I will send it to everyone. Give me a second. You'll know the drill. Yeah, do the survey, join the Facebook group. Yeah, Farhan got redemption. He's third. So, guys, these are the standings for today's class. Ayman came first, we have Ishan second, and we have Farhan third. Yes, guys, everyone do the survey. It takes 2 minutes, but it helps me, okay? And yeah, next class I'm going to be rather stricter with you. I'm going to block the chat because you all are just distracting me and everyone. I wanted to cover more in today's class. But it's okay. We finished something extremely important called potential dividing circuits. And all of you are going to get homework emailed. All of you are going to make the LDR potential dividing circuit. One second, let me. If you are finished, you can indeed leave. And all of you will have my contact, you'll have my email, you'll have my WhatsApp, Instagram, all of that. So send me your homeworks, okay? If you have any questions, let me know. Bye, Kashinath. See, guys, today we ended the class very early. Share us the link to the survey. I put it in the chat. I'll put it in again. There you go. And your homework, guys, is going to look like this. So you're going to make a voltage dividing circuit where your input voltage is going to be 9 volts and your voltmeter is going to show, one second. Your input voltage is going to be 9 volts and your output voltage is going to show 3 volts. No, wait, we didn't do this. Let's do 6 volts and your voltmeter will show 6 volts. That's your homework. And I will bye Ishan, as long as after you're done with the survey, you can leave. And I'm going to screenshot this and email it to you all. See you, Dev. As long as you've done the survey, do the survey, guys. Oh, wait. It's okay. Whoever it is that's scribbling, stop now. All right. So you guys are going to... Anyways, guys. Finish the survey and then you guys can leave. And whoever is scribbling, don't... I need to finish something for you all to chat. I don't know, why do you all find so much satisfaction in doing this? Oh, 1 second. I can't even see the chat. Thank you. Yes, you may leave. Okay, I'm glad, Aldrin. But come for the rest of the classes as well. They'll help too. Yes, I did. Okay, give me a second. Okay, see you then. Okay, fine. Thank you. Let me stop the recording. I know, what satisfaction do you guys find in scribbling on the board?